Ethan and I had been on again, off again for 4 years. We'd fought countless times and broken up just as often, all because of his girl best friend who couldn't understand boundaries. Everyone thought I couldn't live without Ethan, that I'd cling to him forever. After all, my love for Ethan was far too obvious. So obvious that, after every breakup, I was always the first to back down. At a friend's gathering, his friends would tease, "Ethan, your docile little wife is here to beg for you back again. Doesn't she realize how she always grovels at your side like a dog?" Chloe wrapped her arms around Ethan's neck, teasing him shamelessly. Ethan, for his part, looked rather pleased. This was yet another time Ethan had given me the silent treatment for nearly 3 months because of Chloe. But this time I didn't argue or make a scene. I simply calmly rotated the ring on my ring finger. No one knew. 3 days ago, I had just got married to Ethan's arch-rival. My presence here was also for someone else. Just then, my phone vibrated. "Wife, my flight is delayed. I might be a little late, wait for me." I sat in the corner, calmly unlocking my phone and drafting a text message. I didn't exchange a single word with Chloe the entire time. My uncharacteristic behavior made the friends who had already stood up, ready to break up a fight between Chloe and me, sheepishly sit back down. Everyone knew Chloe and I didn't get along. Every time that girl best friend of his got near Ethan, I'd turn on her. The most serious incident was when I pinned her to the ground and almost ruined her face. Ethan slapped me hard for it. "Luna, apologize." His voice was as cold as ice. It was the first time he had ever laid a hand on me because of Chloe. It also sobered me completely. After 4 years of dating, if it weren't for his indulgence, how could Chloe have repeatedly inserted herself between us as his girl best friend? 3 months is enough time for you to reflect, Luna. There won't be a next time. Indeed, there wouldn't be a next time. I stood up. Everyone tensed. "Sister-in-law, don't act rashly. Ethan's friends are back from overseas today, and Chloe is just here to welcome them back." "That's right, sister-in-law, Ethan only treats Chloe as one of the guys. To us, she's more masculine than any man. Please, don't do anything rash. Get out of my way." I raised an eyebrow and pushed aside the 2 people blocking my path. Under his watchful gaze, I walked straight past her and opened the door. Before I closed the door, I could still hear their relieved murmurs. "Ethan, you're still the best. After giving your sister-in-law the silent treatment for nearly 3 months, she's changed her entire personality for you." If this were before, with Chloe openly provoking her like this, sister-in-law would have already charged at her. Ethan really knows how to train people. I found it amusing. I walked to a quiet spot. When's phone rang again, I pressed the answer button. "Wife, I miss you so much." Nearly half an hour passed. Only then did he reluctantly hang up. A faint scent of smoke drifted from behind me. I turned around. Ethan was wearing a trench coat, a cigarette dangling from his lips, lazily blocking my way back. "You just can't stand Chloe and me sitting together, can you?" Looking at my locked phone, he gave a half smile. "You'd rather hide out here for so long than go back inside? It has nothing to do with you." "I was just on the phone," I told him coldly. "Enough, Luna, stop pretending. Besides me, who would have the patience to talk to you out here for so long?" He scoffed. Noticing my furrowed brow, he put out his cigarette. His tone held a hint of command. "Come back with me and apologize to Chloe. If she forgives you, we can get back together. Be reasonable, Luna. Chloe is the youngest among us guys, so it's natural she's a bit spoiled, but we just treat her as one of the guys." I couldn't count how many times I'd heard words like that over the past 4 years. Memories flashed through my mind like a carousel. Chloe, taking advantage of my absence, stripped naked and climbed into Ethan's bed. When was drunk, Chloe pretended to be me and, under the guise of being one of the guys, pinned him against a wall and kissed him. Such incidents were countless over those 4 years. I didn't believe for a second that Ethan truly couldn't sense Chloe's intentions. "Move." I raised my hand to push him, but he gripped my wrist tightly. "Where did that come from?" Ethan stared at the ring on my ring finger, his expression shifting repeatedly. Finally, he chuckled. "Luna, who taught you how to play hard to get? I'm married." At that, he froze instantly. Back in the room, I paid no mind to the suddenly vacant seat next to Ethan. I walked straight to a corner and browsed on my phone. Seeing this, Ethan's expression grew even colder. He poured red wine down his throat, glass after glass. Some people truly have no shame. To get Ethan back, they'll even invent a lie about getting married. Do you really think you're made of gold, that Ethan can't live without you? Just a piece of trash Ethan played with for 4 years. I turned off my phone and slammed it hard onto Chloe's face. Try yapping again, I dare you. The tense atmosphere kept everyone around us silent. Ethan frowned, his gaze, heavy with alcohol, fell on me. Hearing pained sobs beside him, he set down his wine glass. Luna, apologize. Ethan's voice was icy. Whenever I clashed, he always sided with her. I sneered internally. My indifferent attitude deepened Ethan's frown. In the past, as soon as he spoke, no matter how unwilling I felt, I would always be the first to yield to Chloe for the sake of our relationship. What's wrong? Are you lashing out in anger and shame? Did I say something wrong, Luna? You're just a cheap woman. Chloe, hiding behind Ethan, continued to provoke me habitually. She knew that no matter how outrageous her words were, Ethan would always choose to protect her. Chloe, don't talk to your sister-in-law like that. Just as expected, Ethan merely gently ruffled her hair and brushed aside her insults toward me. I suddenly smiled. I picked up the nearby red wine and poured it into a glass. Ethan's gaze softened, thinking I was finally willing to yield to Chloe. Chloe instinctively reached out too, a malicious smile playing on her lips. Luna, do you know? The way you're offering a toast right now makes you look even more like a dog. Is that right? I countered with a smile. The next second, with Chloe completely unprepared, I smashed the wine glass, grabbed her hair, and poured all the red wine, mixed with the glass fragments, into her mouth. Ethan instantly pushed me away. Luna, are you insane? Chloe was just being verbally aggressive, she didn't actually hurt you. So, my mother and I deserve to be insulted? Blood trickled from Chloe's lips. She leaned against Ethan's embrace, her eyes, filled with terror and malice, fixed on me. I narrowed my eyes. Still staring? Luna. Ethan could no longer hold back, warning me in a low voice. He bent down and picked up Chloe. Only then did the crowd react to the sudden incident. They frantically helped Ethan open the restroom door to wash Chloe's wounds. I sat in my original seat, clearly hearing the growing discussion inside. Ethan, what are you thinking? Chloe is your true friend, she's been with us since childhood. What is Luna to you? She's so crazy, why can't you let her go? She hurt Chloe so badly, we can't just let this slide. So, what do you want to do? As soon as Ethan's irritated voice spoke, the room instantly fell silent. After a long pause, he spoke again. Alright, I'll make Luna explain herself to Chloe. First, take Chloe to the hospital. What about Sawyer? Didn't Grandpa instruct us when we came that we were supposed to build a good relationship with him this time? Ethan opened the door with a grim expression. His friends, emerging from behind him, glared at me, united against a common foe, then helped Chloe downstairs. Only the two of us remained in the room. Ethan rubbed his temples. Luna, you've gone too far this time. Even if you're jealous of Chloe because of me, you can't actually lay a hand on her. Since when did Ethan become so narcissistic? I didn't say anything, finding it rather amusing. I took out my debit card and placed it on the table. I'll pay her medical expenses. Ethan, we've already broken up. That night, 4 years ago, Ethan had stood in the rain all night, kneeling before my mother's memorial photograph. He bit at my lips. Luna, I beg you, just look at me. Let's be together. Let me take your mother's place and take care of you, alright? Seeing his reddened eyes, my heart softened. Then came Chloe's provocations again and again. When I was sick with a fever, Ethan, on his way to get me medication, was dragged off to sing karaoke by Chloe. On the anniversary of her mother's passing, I sat alone at her mother's gravesite. Nearby, laughter and chatter echoed as Chloe brought a barbecue grill and, with Ethan's friends, hooked arms and tricked him into drinking red wine. One incident after another, the endless arguments all because of Chloe. I was already mentally and physically exhausted. I should have given up on such an insecure love a long time ago. Luna, what do you mean? Ethan gritted his teeth, holding my shoulder in disbelief. You actually broke up with me? Luna, how dare you? You're playing hard to get again, aren't you? He stared at me intently. Right, you have no family, only me left. How could you bear to give me up? As he spoke, Ethan's expression softened. He casually pulled out a cigarette, not lighting it, just holding it between his lips. Luna, stop being difficult. You know I don't like you like this. Playing hard to get won't work on me. Want to get back together? Then come with me to the hospital and apologize to Chloe. I'll wait for you there, Luna. This is your last chance. He closed the door. He never once asked why I was here, or why I hadn't left. 10 minutes later, the person I was waiting for finally arrived. Sawyer waved his bodyguards away and walked over to me. He raised an eyebrow, looking at the mess in the room. My dear wife? Are Are you having another spat with your ex-boyfriend? 16 times, wife. He questioned, his tone dripping with sarcasm. When I called you 16 times in the car, you ignored me, but here you are, throwing a fit for your ex-boyfriend. Sawyer's eyes were red with jealousy. Luna, tell me the truth, in your heart, am I, your backup, more important than your ex-boyfriend? Smelling the scent of jealousy in the air, I said impatiently, who said you're a backup? I believe we're legally married. Ethan is the outsider to me. You mean it? Sawyer's eyes lit up. Of course, I responded. Then for the wedding in a week, I'll send him a wedding invitation, and you're not allowed to get angry. Sawyer, are you out of your mind? I hadn't even finished my sentence when he suddenly pulled me into an embrace and kissed me fiercely. Yes, I am, Sawyer murmured between my lips. Luna, I want everyone to know that you are mine now. I had no family or close friends. My closest social circle consisted of Ethan and his friends. So on the wedding day, I didn't notify anyone. There was still an hour until the ceremony began. The guests had already arrived. They clustered together, whispering, discussing what kind of woman could make Sawyer, the notoriously playboy scion of the Hays, settle down and get married. Ethan leaned irritably against a table corner. Frowning, he listened as his friends boasted about Sawyer's decisive tactics after taking over the Hays, and how, a week ago, he had purchased an entire plot of land for the current wedding venue, just to please his newlywed wife. The estate and the Vance had always been fierce rivals in business. Ethan and Sawyer's relationship was naturally the same. If it weren't for the recent difficulties faced by the Vance, requiring the Hays to provide a financial turnover, and with Grandpa pressuring him, Ethan would never have been here today. Someone nearby came over to toast him with flattery. Ethan dealt with them with a cold expression. His mind wasn't here at all. He didn't care whether Sawyer was getting married or not. It had been over a week. Since he had last abandoned Luna, she hadn't contacted him in over a week. This was something that would never have happened before. Ethan repeatedly rubbed Luna's number in his contacts. Should he call her? Or was this another one of Luna's new tricks, playing hard to get, just waiting for him to actively seek her out to reconcile? Ethan's eyes flickered with uncertainty. His phone was suddenly snatched away. Chloe, displeased, slapped his shoulder. Ethan, are you still one of the guys? I've called you so many times and you haven't responded. Today we're attending your arch-rival's wedding. Don't mess things up again for that cheap woman, Luna, like last time. Chloe pulled him towards the stairs. Didn't your grandpa tell you on the way here to use this opportunity to ease relations with Sawyer and finalize the cooperation? I've already thought of a way to smooth things over for you. Sawyer's bride is getting ready upstairs right now. You know, a crazy man like Sawyer was lured by her. Let's build a good relationship with her first. Then, we can have her persuade Sawyer to cooperate with the Vance. Wouldn't that be the best of both worlds? As she spoke, she winked at Ethan's friends, signaling them to distract the bodyguards stationed at the staircase. She pushed open the door. Ethan impatiently looked up, and his gaze met mine, dressed in a designer wedding gown. Ethan's pupils instantly widened. I frowned. Get out. Luna, how could you possibly be here? After realizing it was me, CHL. Oe dramatically shrieked. She looked me up and down, a deep flash of envy and hatred in her eyes. As if finally remembering something, she sneered disdainfully. Luna, you're utterly shameless. To get back with Ethan, you'd even sneak onto the second floor, put on someone else's wedding dress, and impersonate the bride. If we hadn't come, would you have just gone along with it, pretending to be the bride and marrying Sawyer? Humph, is this your new trick to attract Ethan? Now, take off that wedding dress. Chloe suddenly stepped forward and tried to tear my gown. Luna, do you even know how important today's occasion is? If you ruin that wedding dress, can you afford to pay for it? Good thing the real bride isn't here right now. If you offend Sawyer, Ethan won't be able to protect you. Chloe, let go. The sound of the argument had already drawn many people upstairs to watch. Seeing this, Chloe grew even more furious. She pointed at me self-righteously. Go ahead and make a scene, Luna. You women whose minds are only filled with romance and love, just make a scene. As friend, I've done everything I can for you today. You have no idea how much trouble you've caused Ethan. That wedding dress you're wearing was custom-made for Sawyer's newlywed wife by someone overseas. And now, you're secretly wearing someone else's wedding dress just to get back with Ethan. When the Hays people come, I wonder how you'll explain yourself. In the end, Ethan will still have to clean up your mess. Is that true, Miss Chloe? Didn't the Hays specify no unauthorized entry to the second floor? That's right, Chloe. Are you sure you haven't mistaken someone else? The The second floor is Mr. Sawyer's wife's dressing room, and there are bodyguards downstairs. How could anyone get in here so easily? This was the haze. The guests, naturally, were all wealthy and influential, seasoned in business. Although they hadn't seen me beside Sawyer before, they wouldn't be easily led by Chloe. Watching the surrounding bodyguards come upstairs and bow to me, some people had already sensed something was wrong and quickly moved to smooth things over for Chloe. Haha, Ms. Chloe, I guess you, like me, are just overjoyed that Mr. Sawyer has married such a virtuous wife today, and had a bit too much to drink. Come, let's go downstairs first. Chloe clearly lacked that person's insight. She pushed him away forcefully, her face red with anger. Why don't any of you believe me? I couldn't possibly be mistaken. If even I could distract the bodyguards and sneak up here, what wouldn't that crazy woman Luna do? In 4 years, she's even injured me, all to get back with Ethan. That's right, sister-in-law, we can all vouch for Chloe. Besides, Ethan is still here. We've known you for so long, let's just quickly take off that wedding dress for the real bride. Don't make Ethan look bad in front of outsiders. Hearing mention her previous injury, Ethan's friends immediately stepped out from the crowd and shielded her. Their gazes at me were fearful and wary, clearly afraid that I would, without a word, lash out at Chloe again. You certainly know me well. I adjusted my gown and jewelry with a half-smile. Luna, take off the wedding dress and come with me. Ethan's face was pale, his eyes fixed on me. As if trying to prove something, he said in a hoarse voice, change your clothes, and I agree to get back together with you. Come, I'll take you home. More and more bodyguards, hearing the commotion, rushed over. They crowded at the doorway. After bowing to me, the lead bodyguard violently punched the face of the bodyguard who had previously been stationed at the staircase. How could you be so careless? Didn't Mr. Sawyer instruct that no one was to disturb his wife when she was on the second floor? Ethan's face grew even paler. As if he hadn't heard, he stepped forward and grabbed my wrist. Luna, stop making a scene. Come back with me. Didn't you used to dislike me? Smoking? If you come back, I'll quit right now. Ethan, the scion of the Vance, who hadn't changed a single habit for me in 4 years, was now saying he would quit smoking. I raised an eyebrow, about to speak, when steady footsteps entered the room from outside. Sawyer's gaze fell on Ethan's hand gripping my wrist. His voice was colder than I had ever heard it. What's this, Ethan? Where are you taking my newlywed wife? Or perhaps, Sawyer lowered his gaze, do you, Ethan, now represent the entire Vance in opposing my haze? Ethan's hand, gripping my wrist, trembled uncontrollably. He could no longer deceive himself. Sawyer's words were clear. I was Sawyer's wife, the woman he was marrying today. Mr. Sawyer, there's been a misunderstanding. My friend and I just mistook someone. Under the intersecting gazes of everyone, Ethan painstakingly released my hand, his voice barely a whisper, as if squeezed through his teeth. Unlike, he hadn't yet taken over the Vance. Given the current state of the Vance, he couldn't afford to offend the haze. Chloe's face had completely changed by this point. She shrieked uncontrollably. How is this possible? Sawyer, are you sure you're not blind? How could Luna be your wife? Are you out of your mind? You're passing over so many wonderful women out there to marry such a... Ah! A sharp slap echoed. Chloe was grabbed by the neck by a haze bodyguard and subdued on the floor, unable to utter another word. My apologies, everyone, you're witnessing quite a spectacle. When I encounter such idiotic women, I just can't resist. Sawyer took the handkerchief offered by a bodyguard, wiped his hands, then smiled again. As you all know, I have a short temper. Anyone who offends my wife, I deal with personally. Does anyone else have anything to add? No one dared to speak. Ethan's friends, who had just been arrogant and sticking up for Chloe, now cowered in a corner, sweating profusely. They weren't Vance's. They couldn't afford to have. Then the haze. The ceremony began. Only then did the joyful laughter of the guests slowly fill the hall. Amidst the guests' compliments, Sawyer himself led me onto the stage, holding my hand, and placed the ring on my finger. He took the microphone from the host, his gaze pointedly shifting towards the corner. Ladies and gentlemen, please remember my wife Luna's name. To offend her is to offend me, Sawyer. What happened today, I do not wish for a second time. Wouldn't you agree, Ethan? In the corner, Ethan's fingertips were white. After a long moment, he finally raised his wine glass and uttered a single word, agreed. Halfway through the wedding, Chloe had already been personally driven home by Hayes' bodyguards. Chloe's family, despite seeing her injuries, dared not say a single word. After the Hayes bodyguards left, Mr. David, Chloe's father, upon learning what happened, disregarded Chloe's cries and gave her a harsh slap. He disowned her on the spot. Ethan's friends were not spared either. After their injuries healed, their families sent them overseas overnight. After the ceremony, outside the restroom, Ethan blocked my path. He reeked of alcohol, his eyes bloodshot. Why, Luna? Why, after only 3 months? Luna, you knew Sawyer and I were arch rivals, so why did you marry him of all people? His voice cracked, choked with sobs. You're trying to get back at me, aren't you, Luna? You resent me for giving you the silent treatment for so long this time. You resent me for abandoning you that day. You resent me for favoring Chloe, Luna. You succeeded. Tears fell from Ethan's eyes. I regret it now, Luna. You don't love Sawyer at all, do you? Divorce him. I'm willing to change, Luna. You don't like me smoking. I'll stop. I'll keep my distance from Chloe. We'll never fight again. Please, give me another chance, Luna. Looking at Ethan's broken appearance at that moment, my heart felt no ripple. In those 4 years, if he had just once begged me, LD have said yes. But there are no if-onlys in this world. It's too late, Ethan. I'm married. You're wrong. I love Sawyer. Ethan froze. How is that possible, Luna? It's only been 3 months, not 3 months. 4 years. My feelings for Ethan had been completely exhausted through our countless arguments and silent treatments. I wouldn't be trapped in that relationship forever. My marriage to Sawyer has nothing to do with you, Ethan. Stop flattering yourself. I pushed him away, keeping my distance. Luna, are you still blaming me for being too close to Chloe? Because, that's enough, Ethan. I cut him off. He had never explained any of this to me before. Now, I didn't want to hear it. Wife. The person behind me reached out and pulled me into an embrace. He narrowed his eyes possessively. Ethan? I heard from my assistant that you have a collaboration to discuss with the Hayes. What's wrong? Don't you want to discuss it anymore? Ethan returned home reeking of alcohol. That night, he was mercilessly reprimanded by his grandpa. Disoriented, he hunched over the toilet, dry heaving. The thought of Luna safely in Sawyer's arms made his eyes well up uncontrollably again. What didn't say was that he wasn't the Vance's only option. His father had many illegitimate children. Since his mother's passing, if it weren't for Grandpa's care, his father might have already remarried and openly brought those illegitimate children home. But Henry wouldn't always side with him. Those outside also shared his bloodline. This collaboration with the Hayes was the Vance's test for him. But he had failed. With no one else around, Ethan no longer needed to maintain his composure and collapsed miserably onto the floor. Ethan? I heard from my assistant that you have a collaboration to discuss with the Hayes. What's wrong? Don't you want to discuss it anymore? He involuntarily recalled Sawyer's dangerous eyes at that moment. On one side was his career and future. On the other, there was the woman he loved. Ethan couldn't remain indifferent, negotiating humbly and ingratiatingly with Sawyer in front of Luna. He ran. Then came Grandpa's disappointed expression. How he wished everything he had experienced and seen today was just a dream. If only he had a little more time. If only he was one step away. He could have inherited the Vance and brought Luna home as his wife. Ethan sat at the bar, swaying as he poured himself another drink. He regretted it. He shouldn't have pushed Luna away repeatedly for Chloe. He had just gotten used to it, thinking Luna would always wait for him. Chloe and his friends were merely stepping stones Ethan used to solidify his position. Their families behind them were complex and influential, all tools Ethan could use. Only was all alone. So when faced with a choice, Ethan subconsciously sided with the other. He knew Luna would always wait for him, but now she had left too. The night was deep. Ethan, in a drunken haze, watched the butler lead a woman in. She rushed towards him, crying hysterically. She claimed she was wrong. She shouldn't have been so willful, she was too impulsive, asking if he could take her in, give her another chance. Is that Luna? Luna, you finally regret it. He lovingly kissed the woman's head. Don't cry, Luna, it's good to have you back. I forgive you. It was my fault, I wasn't good enough. Let's start over. The woman's body stiffened, but she still helped him to bed. As she took off his clothes, he was still asking, is that Luna? Luna, do you regret it? Where he couldn't see, a flash of jealousy and resolve crossed the woman's eyes. She kissed his lips with a sense of devotion. I'm Luna, Ethan. I'm your Luna. I regret it. Ethan was woken by a harsh slap. Cold water splashed on his face. Grandpa, for the first time, showed him an expression of disappointment and anger at his lack of resolve. Ethan's heart sank. He turned his head, bewildered. Chloe, naked and wrapped in a blanket, was still shouting. Ethan and I genuinely love each other. We've already been intimate. He has to marry me. Ethan felt his head instantly explode. Lost memories resurfaced before his eyes like a flood. He sat up in disbelief. Chloe, you set me up? Chloe's family caused a huge scene at the Vance. Mr. David, Chloe's father, who had already disowned her, insisted that Ethan take responsibility for Chloe. Otherwise, he would release the video of the Vance's young master taking advantage and abandoning her. Chloe, didn't you say you considered me a brother? Ethan's face was grim. He didn't know Chloe had secretly recorded a video. The series of events left him mentally and physically exhausted. He looked at Chloe with a final flicker of hope. If you truly consider me a brother, then explain to your father yourself that our intimacy was accidental and that you have no feelings for me. Ethan, what kind of brother sleeps in the same bed as you? What kind of brother stays consistently single for 4 years by your side? Ethan, we've kissed. On's birthday, she even saw it with her own eyes. I don't believe you're unaware of my feelings for you. You must take responsibility for me. No girl truly wants to be just one of the guys with a man. Ethan, I like you. You have to marry me. As burst into tears, the string, stretched to its limit in Ethan's mind, snapped. I hadn't expected to see Ethan again at his wedding. He went through the ceremony in a daze. Only when he saw me in the audience did a flicker of light appear in his eyes. Fool, he only knows what he had after losing it. What was he doing before? Sawyer, jealous, covered my eyes. Wife, don't look at him, he's disgusting. In the audience, only Chloe's family was smiling. After long consideration, Grandpa still agreed to the marriage between Chloe's family and the Vance, and paid a huge price to retrieve the video from Chloe. After all, if the content got out, it would severely impact the VA. NCE. Ethan's younger brothers, one after another, raised their glasses to thank the guests. They were Ethan's father's illegitimate children. The day after Grandpa agreed to the marriage proposal from Chloe's family, they were brought back to the Vance. As we left, Ethan, ignoring Sawyer's dagger-like stare, insisted on blocking our car. He gave me a deep look, then shifted his gaze. Mr. Sawyer, are you still interested in discussing the collaboration the Vance mentioned last time? Sawyer raised an eyebrow. You came just for this? Of course. Mr. Sawyer, are you interested in the Vance's overseas projects? Interesting. Ethan seemed to have changed. He spoke eloquently beside Sawyer, discussing the advantages of a collaboration between the Hayes and the Vance. His attitude was humble. I started to feel drowsy listening. As I got out of the car to clear my head, I felt a gaze full of hatred from behind me. I turned my head. Luna, I bet you never expected that I, not you, would ultimately marry Ethan. Chloe, wearing a red formal gown, sneered at me. She hadn't had an easy time lately. Chloe's family had disowned her. With nowhere else to go, she had no choice but to rely on Ethan. Only after she became a daughter-in-law of the Vance did Chloe's family resume contact with her, but didn't love her. He even hated her. Chloe would never forget that night, when Ethan, in a voice she'd never heard so humble, begged her to stay. Everything she had now was a result of her wearing Luna's facade that night. It was what Luna had rejected. This deepened Chloe's hatred for Luna even further. You cheap woman, you could have married anyone, but you had to marry Sawyer, constantly being an eyesore to me. Luna, if it weren't for you, Ethan would have been mine long ago. Why would I need to resort to such efforts, only for my relationship with Ethan to be so strained now? No wonder your mother died so early, you just bring bad luck to, Chloe shrieked, clutching her face, unable to believe it. Luna, how dare you lay a hand on me at the Vance? She ran out furiously to call for help. But the people around, as soon as they saw it was me, no one dared to pay attention to her anymore. Even the Vance bodyguards pretended to patrol elsewhere, turning a blind eye. None of this had anything to do with anything else. It was simply that Ethan's position in the Vance was currently precarious. His father could bring all his illegitimate children from outside back to the Vance. Clearly, Grandpa had tacitly approved. They naturally wouldn't offend the Hayes or me for Ethan, whose future was uncertain. Chloe, too, naturally saw this point. Enraged, she actually tried to attack me directly. Chloe, are you crazy? But she was stopped midway by Ethan, who had rushed over. He grabbed Chloe's arm, showing no mercy, and slapped her hard. Today is our wedding day. As a daughter-in-law of the Vance, how can you have no manners? Who told you to lay a hand on a guest? Chloe's tears just fell. Being watched by so many people, Ethan showed her no dignity, and even struck her in public. Ethan, look closely. I am your wife. Luna no longer belongs to you. I gave up everything to marry you, and this is how you treat me on our wedding day? Chloe screamed, her voice hoarse. Ethan remained unmoved, his eyes turning cold. Wasn't this your own choice, Chloe? No one forced you into my bed. I only ever saw you as a friend. Chloe ran out, consumed by grief and indignation. This scene suddenly reminded me of every time Chloe had provoked me. Ethan always shielded her, scolding me. Luna, as my sister-in-law, you should act like one. Chloe didn't mean any harm, she didn't do it on purpose. I suddenly felt utterly weary of it all and turned to leave. Luna, behind me, Ethan watched Sawyer's approaching figure across the way. He withdrew his hand. I'm sorry, and, forget about me. I gave a cold laugh. In the car, Sawyer gently stroked my head. Why do you look so upset? I wouldn't have brought you here if I'd known. My dear wife. He started being sarcastic again. If I didn't let you see your ex get married, how would you ever get over him? I let out a chuckle. Sawyer and I had indeed met because of Ethan. At the time, he had just been subtly undermined by Ethan and was furious, determined to get even. After making many inquiries, he found his way to me. I was seriously ill back then, and Ethan had bought medication for me but never returned. I opened the door and promptly fainted into Sawyer's arms. Sawyer was completely startled then. He carried me into the room. He frantically fumbled around for a fever reducer for me. When I woke up, the first thing I heard was him rubbing his face, an incredulous look on it. No way, Ms. Luna? Am I really that ugly? Ugly enough to make you faint just by looking at me? He disdainfully tore open the fever reducer packet, poured a glass of water, and helped me take it. What kind of miserable life are you living? Ethan is such a jerk. If he treats you so badly, why don't you find someone else? Why are you hanging on to him? I think I'm quite a catch. At least when it comes to treating women, I'm much better than him. I gave him a reassuring kiss. Sawyer, perhaps I've already given up on Ethan. His eyes immediately lit up. Yet he pretended to be nonchalant, idly tapping his index finger on the seat. When was that? Just as I was about to answer, my nose suddenly tickled, and I let out a loud sneeze. Sawyer immediately tensed up. He angrily kicked the driver's seat forward and snapped at the driver. Didn't I tell you my wife has allergies and you're not allowed to smoke while working? After the driver nervously denied it, he frantically sniffed his own sleeve. Wife, where's the smoke smell coming from? You know I never smoke. I deliberately furrowed my brow. It's the scent of jealousy, Sawyer, and you're suffocating me with it. Luna, you, also, gee. Eve the driver a raise. You scared him today. Sawyer completely relaxed. All right, anything for my wife. A year later, Chloe gave birth to a boy, but she died in the hospital. Ethan was desperate to use this child to compete with a group of illegitimate children for inheritance from Grandpa. Chloe's funeral arrangements were handled hastily. Later, after Grandpa passed away, Ethan's father suffered a stroke. An illegitimate child who had always been overlooked inherited the Vance's fortune. I wondered why it wasn't Ethan. Hadn't Ethan initially approached Sawyer to discuss a partnership and secure his support? So, I refused. Sawyer, holding our daughter, smiled with great satisfaction. I would never do something as foolish as helping my arch-rival rise to power. What didn't say was this: he liked a girl, but that girl was too stubborn. He could only engineer chance encounters when his arch-rival was out, secretly knocking on her door. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share your perspectives, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.